UPC Durant Podcast. I'm Garrett.
I'm Cole.
And I'm Corey.
And today we have church member Jason Ward with us today to share a little bit about his story and his upcoming book, which we're excited to talk about. Jason's one of the more innovative and just encouraging people that I've had the privilege of talking to in life, and I think you guys will really enjoy hearing from him today. So we're excited about that. The first thing we're going to do is hit Jason with a few first take questions.
A little bit of first takes. Welcome, Jason. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah. Welcome back, Corey. We want to know Corey is back. It's been a while for him, so we're excited. Little first takes, basically. I give an idea or a sentence, and then you tell me your first thoughts. Give me your first takes.
Okay.
All right. So, your most memorable photograph that you've taken
Would be the Milky Way over a quince tree in my backyard.
That was quick.
I've seen that one. That is a good photo.
We didn't mention Jason is a man of many talents. So
Yes,
photography, videography, building cabins,
Writer.
gardening. It goes on. Writer, author. Yeah. So on top of all that, there's all kinds of stuff going on. So it's pretty exciting.
Stay busy.
Yeah, you do. Your dream campsite. This can be real, or this can be something you imagine.
It would be at Mesa Arch with a huge chain link fence around it so I can be the only one there in the morning.
I love
Because if you've ever been to Mesa Arch, it's like the tripods are literally overlapping each other because it's a mob. It's a mob. There's like fights that break out at that place.
Holy
so to
smokes.
camp out there and be solo, that'd be cool.
Mesa Arch. This is in.
That's in Utah.
Okay.
Canyonlands National Park.
Oh
Yeah.
man, sounds
I've
awesome.
been in the area. I've not been to Mesa Arch, though.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that sounds cool.
You got to be there at like stupid o'clock at like 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
I bet.
Yeah.
Incredible. All right. And then lastly, being a Kentuckian.
Yes, sir.
All right. Yeah. What is the most Kentucky meal?
Biscuits and gravy and eggs and sausage.
Okay. Very
and
similar.
if I were to be on death row and that was my last meal request, that's exactly what I would request.
There you go.
Is
There you
scratch biscuits and gravy and sausage and
sausage.
eggs and bacon. Yeah.
Kentucky stuff.
What's the
I
most
love it.
Oklahoma meal?
It's pretty similar, I would think, but
Probably pretty similar.
chicken fried something.
Maybe.
Chicken fried
Maybe so,
steak.
yeah.
Chicken Express.
It's very
Checks
Oklahoma.
out.
That's fair. That's
You know,
fair to say.
Kentucky is Kentucky Fried Chicken from Kentucky? Is that where it originated or no?
Sort of the jury's still out on that.
Okay.
But I tell you, one thing
people
that
that claim
is
it.
truly from Kentucky is this accent of mine. See, I've been gone
I like it.
for longer than I was there, but it's like you can take the boy out of the Appalachian Mountains, but I don't know if you can really ever take the Appalachian out of the boy.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. A few things to get to know you. And take it a step further. If you would share just a little bit about your faith and kind of what has led you to writing this book
Awesome.
we're looking at today.
Absolutely. God has been in my life, even when I kind of took a sidetrack away from Him. It's almost like He has blessed me beyond measure every step of the way to get me where I'm at. And that's really kind of what caused me to write the book in the first place, is I've had a really random life. Coming from Eastern Kentucky, how do I end up in Southeast Oklahoma? Like, first off, how did that happen?
That's true.
You know? And it's really profound how God brought me here. And I'm not going to have time to get into all those details, but I was standing up at a property in Broken Bow, and we had just finished it. And it was like one of those pinch me if I'm dreaming moments. Like, I walk out and I'm looking over this vista, and I ask myself this question, like, how did I get here, and how did I end up having this opportunity? And it was like this little Holy Spirit talking to me just said, well, if you really want to know, I'll show you. And I started looking, and I could trace every single event back to a single sheet of paper that was given to me by my 7th grade science teacher. And it started this chain of events that were so completely, it had to be God. It had to be ordained by God. Otherwise, I have better odds winning the lottery than these things happening and landing me here. But I actually got saved at church camp when I was in freshman year of high school.
Okay.
And was pretty active in my youth group. And I stayed close to God with the exception of a couple of seasons where I wanted to kind of get out and be prodigal and sort of taste the world. but he was gracious enough to every time welcome me back.
Right.
So this book is by no means me saying that I'm like, I have it all figured out, or that I'm in some ways on another spiritual level. I'm definitely an unfinished man, and I'm like, I'm not ready to write this book.
Wow.
But God, that's the way He does things. He tells you to do them before you're ready.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's really sort of my life, is doing a lot of things before I was ready.
It's cool. Very good. So tell us a little bit more about the book, the premise of the book, what the reader will find in the book, maybe what encouragement someone would draw from it.
Sure. So that moment when I was finishing up that cabin and I was looking back, I really did get a vision of all these little scenes in my life. Kind of, I saw them almost like, you know, those hyperlapse moments where you see your whole life kind of flash before your eyes. You've heard of moments like that?
Yep.
It was similar to that. And I got this idea that it was like a little golden thread that was weaving through my life. And I held on to that. I didn't know what to do with it. I just had that vision that I have this little gold thread that connects everything. And then one day I'm driving. It was in 2024, and I was frustrated, and I didn't really want to listen to podcasts. I didn't want to listen to the news. And I had a lot of windshield time. And God just sort of whispered to me, I felt the Holy Spirit prompt me to write a book about that little gold thread principle that I gave you. And I'm like, what? I don't have time to write a book. If I'm at a computer, I've got photos to edit, videos to edit, emails to do. There's no possible way. He goes, no. Write it while you're driving. And I'm like, that's even more preposterous. I'm already that guy that's like got my phone out texting and stuff while I'm driving. I was like, there's no way I can write a book while I'm driving. He's like, no, silly. You're not going to type it out. You're going to do voice to text. And I'm like, ha, I've got a hillbilly accent. Siri doesn't even understand me.
Right,
this isn't going to work.
So many corrections and errors.
And so he's like, just try it. And I'm like, I don't even have software to do this. He's like, you already have everything you need. And I'm arguing with God, like all these excuses why I can't do it. I don't have time. I'm not prepared. I'm not ready. And then I open up notes on my iPhone. And so help me, I'd never seen this before. Never. There's a little microphone icon down there. And I'm like, this? And he's like, yeah. And so I'm like, let's try it. It's not going to work. So I did. I hit the little microphone, and I just pretended that I was like John Eldridge or somebody, like reading this
Professional
fake
voice.
Yeah, this fake audiobook to an imaginary audience, and I'm booming with my bass, voice on the condenser microphone, and I'm reading this fake book. And you know what? It did an okay job. Like, it actually laid down my text, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it works.
That's wild.
And by the time I got to my destination, I think I was driving to like Corpus Christi or something. I had the first chapter.
Oh, wow.
And so I just kept going, and God just kept giving me more, and I just kept laying it down, and within about 3.5, 4 months, I had a manuscript. And I'm like, well, God, what now? If you brought me this far, what should I do? Hire an editor. Because, it's a hot mess, So, and it was. So I hired an editor. And then I found out about this company called Book Launchers, and I sent it to them, and so they did a little round of editing, and then after that, it was like, take it through formatting, take it through proofreading, and I'm just kind of keeping it going. And what happened is, I don't want to get too long on this, but the gold thread, I got this when I was writing it. If there's this thread that sort of weaves a tapestry of prosperity and possibilities and unveils your true calling, then there most certainly must be this black thread that comes along that threatens to choke it out and smother it and hold it back and keep it hidden. And that's true of all of us. We have an adversary, and it's Satan. And he comes to steal, kill, and destroy everything that God's trying to build up in our lives. And so I started writing about black threads. And what are those? Well, they can be self-imposed. These are black threads that could be addictive things, destructive behaviors. They could be bitterness and things you harbor, just patterns of behavior that you hang on to. You just won't turn them loose. Or a black thread could be something that blindsides you, like bad car wreck, a medical diagnosis, losing your job. There's so many things that life throws at us that get really heavy that can choke us out of like these good things that we're trying to do. But then as I kept writing, I revealed something even more, is that only God has the wisdom and the providence to be able to see down the line how a black thread can actually turn to a gold thread. Because even those bad things that happen, he can see how they make you stronger, more resilient, and prepare you for the next chapter and next season of your calling. And so that's the premise of the book.
That's beautiful.
That actually, a little bit of that kind of came out in Gary's message this last week, I think, too, in Romans, talking about kind of the Israelites, kind of when salvation became available for the Jew and the Gentiles, but the Jews kind of feel more insignificant and like a little bit of a failure because of their sinful nature and stuff. It's like almost like it was a black thread for them, but God actually turned it into something like amazing.
Right.
Yeah.
I feel like that kind of is very relevant to kind of what we're going through in Romans right now.
Absolutely.
Honestly.
See that a lot in the scriptures.
Yeah.
And I feel like that I tested what I'm writing against the scriptures, because I definitely don't want to write something that's completely a departure from theology.
Absolutely.
You know, I want to make sure my theology is solid. And really, I'm just a man of metaphors, just as a storyteller.
Right.
That's all this is. It's just a metaphor for what I believe is in the gospel. And I found so many Bible verses that I'm like, oh my goodness, this lines up, you know? And so I sprinkled those through the book too.
That's great.
Yeah.
I love the way you just, it's this thing that's fallen into essentially your spiritual lap, fallen into your heart, that you've just kind of followed God step by step. Like, okay, what's next? What's next? What's next? That's really beautiful in and of itself. But then to have a message and something to encourage with about their calling and who they might be and what that looks like for them is inspiring. It's really cool.
For sure.
Thank you, yeah.
Tell us about who this book is for and how someone could know how to find their gold thread if they're not following it or they're just going about life. Maybe they're kind of just drifting with the wind, whatever the case may be. How do you find your gold thread?
Thanks for that question. That's the biggie right there, is who's this book for? And I was writing to myself as a younger man, really. Like, if I could have had this book a few years earlier, what would be the book I would have wanted and needed? And so I had gone through a little bit of a midlife crisis at around age 40, and I'll be like 48 next month, so not quite a decade. But what I was struggling with in that time is that I was working really hard, but I didn't feel like I was being successful, like I wasn't accomplishing anything. So first off, my book is for those people who are going through that little bit of a midlife crisis where they're like, what in the world am I doing with my life? Did I really sign up to do this forever and this is it? For me, that looked like this. I worked for 20 years to do advertising, to make TV commercials and billboards and catalogs and commercial photography. And I asked myself, if I were to die in a car wreck, what would my kids do with that big hard drive that I've got behind me on my desk? And the answer was really tough. They'd probably throw it in the landfill. Because who wants a bunch of old obsolete ads? You know, sure, advertising was good to me, allowed me to have children and build houses and have a lifestyle. But it wasn't a legacy. It wasn't like I wasn't moving the needle, you know, for anybody except for the companies that I'm enriching by doing their ad campaigns. I wanted something more. The other person that this book would speak to is me as a much younger kid, like a college kid, because, oh my goodness, we are not doing our kids any service by taking an 18-year-old and marching them into the guidance counselor's office and having them declare a major that they're going to have to take out maybe
It's the most bizarre thing ever.
like $150K worth of loans to get through this thing. What if they get to the end of that and they realize, I don't even like this? What am I doing? You know? So that's the other vertical. That's the audience that I'm trying to reach.
Right.
Man, it's so tough. I just remember being like a senior in high school and a senior in college, and people were like, what do you want to do with your life? I'm like, I don't know.
Who really knows at 18?
Yeah, I'm just like, it's a kind of an overwhelming question. It's kind of always an overwhelming question, really. But especially when you're 18, you know?
So I did this exercise on myself because I got an art scholarship when I was 18 to the University of Louisville. It's a state school, and I was an in-state kid, but I did everything traditionally. Stayed on campus, housing. I got the meal ticket card to go up to the student center and eat. I got all my books, got my little parking pass, and I totaled it up. And in the year 96, when I got that scholarship, that was worth about $35,000 for that 4-year education. Well, I went on Grok and typed in how much would it be to go to the University of Louisville for 4 years, live on campus, have on-campus parking and meal card. $144,000. I think that's outpaced inflation a little bit.
My goodness.
Out-of-state tuition, $208,000, and this is not a private university. This is a state school.
Yeah.
So
Louisville.
we're asking our kids to sign on the line for $140,000 for something they may not even want to do. I would rather them declare a calling before declaring a major.
Yeah. Yeah. Calling drives your work.
Yeah.
Or ideally, your calling drives
If
your
you
work.
can
You're
find
not
it, if
just
you can
working.
figure out what that is.
Right, that's the challenge. Do you guys remember that feeling
Which one?
of just like, what am I here to do?
I
know
thought
what I
I
mean?
dodged it. I dropped out of college because of all that. I thought I thought I was smart. I was like, I don't know what I want to be at 19, so I'm just gonna quit and just like I'm not gonna waste any more money. But I spent from about 16 to 26 in like punk rock bands and stuff.
Yeah.
And then I had my midlife crisis really early in life, or I'm gonna die soon. I'm not sure, either one. But around 26, I was like, I like woke up one day, and I mean, I'm at the point where I'm in a band. There's actually pieces of paper being put in front of us. Like, do you want to be on this small label? Do you want a tour opening for it? And I said, I actually hate being in a band. Like, I was just like,
Wow.
I've been doing this for a long time. I was like, and I don't remember why I ever started doing music. I think someone just said, hey, you look like you should be in a band. And I said, cool, I don't have to figure myself out. I can just follow that.
Yeah.
And I did that. And I quit. And one day it was just like 27. It's like, so the last 10 years made no sense. I don't want to do this for a living. I don't even really enjoy doing it at all. In terms of the travel and studio, I hated every aspect of being in a band other than like the 40 minutes I was on stage. That everything else was
fair.
awful.
Yeah.
And after that, it's about time I hooked up probably with Dustin Searles and was just like, I like this. I like worship music. It's easy, it's simple, it's beyond me. But but still, it's weird to just kind of go, oh, that was not my calling. I guess
Yeah.
I was like, that's not my cult thread at all,
Right.
or whatever. I was just, but like you said earlier, like I think whatever black threads or anything that's obstacle of whatever your true calling may be, I think the Lord like works through all that. Because I played music in church.
Yeah.
I would have never picked up a guitar if some kid in high school said, hey, you should look like you should be in a band. And I love doing it. I like playing worship music. I like doing that. The Lord has been honored that I have learned a skill. But again, I chased something completely different. And then but the Lord still used it, even though I kind of like woke up one day and said, oh, I hate this, and so I think this whole concept of a calling and finding a calling is a very interesting subject to write on. It's a very heavy one, and this one, like you said, I think we live in a world where everything still feels so mapped out. Go to school, go to college, do this, and you don't stop and ask, wait, hold on, like let's slow down and go, is this what I'm supposed to be doing, or what's the calling in all that noise that I should be also following while I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing? It's a very interesting concept to really think about, because I do think it passes us by real fast. Yeah. So
I got a little metaphor I use for that. When someone isn't following their true calling, it's like a thoroughbred racehorse hitched to a plow, pulling a plow. Now, can a thoroughbred pull a plow? Of course it can. It's a horse. But how, unless someone leads it to the track, will it ever discover that it was actually born to run?
Yeah.
And likewise, or conversely, a Clydesdale in a racetrack is also going to be miserable because it's trying to do something it was never intended to do. And so many people try to force a career onto themselves because they like the sound of the title.
Yeah.
They like the prestige that it might bring them or the income level that it might bring them. But my question is how many practicing attorneys are out there? It's not that they're not smart enough to do the job.
Right.
I mean, they passed the bar exam. They're attorneys. Come on.
Yeah, they're there.
But how many of them would be happier doing something like restoring old cars or owning a business, doing something that that really blows their hair back? You know, because we can force this thing, but that's exactly what leads to a midlife crisis
Oh, for sure.
when you force it.
That's a really good metaphor. I like that.
Well, it's like the first thing we ask each other when you're getting to know someone, like, what do you do? And it's so much about, like, what do you do? And when they're asking kids going into college, what do you want to do? And it's not really considering who do you want to be, who are you? Who has God made you to be? And calling seems to be the thing that kind of marries both of those, like what you do with who you are and who God has made you to be specifically.
Well, and a lot of times we don't ask the question about what God wants of us.
Right.
Because there's so many people that are chasing the I've made it sort of category. And what does that really mean? Is it that you can buy the beach house in Florida? Is it that you can put a bunch of exotic cars in a garage somewhere? And then, do you know that after I submitted the book, God still revealed one more thing to me? And I was like, hey, I've got this thing I've got to add to the book. And like, hey, it's your book. You can add it in. I'm like, thank God. Yeah, I'm just like, I got to put one more thing in. Yeah, just one more thing.
That's funny.
And thank God I did have that opportunity to do. I went and I put this one little phrase in there, and it says, you know, your true calling can never be God's true calling on your life unless it serves God and other people. If it only serves you, it's not your true calling. And that was heavy for me.
Yeah,
That's a lot.
absolutely.
That's cool.
Because if it only serves you, it wasn't your calling.
Yeah.
So, might be stepping on some toes there, but that's what God revealed to me after the fact, after writing the whole book. And I just had to put that in. I'm like, how did I miss that?
That's good.
I just keep thinking of Psalms 37 here because Psalms 37 says to delight yourself in the Lord and he will give you the desires of your heart. That's so huge because I could be trying to find these things in life and just keep searching and searching and really not know what I'm even after. I just find myself totally lost. But delighting myself in the Lord and he will put the desires in my heart, that's when Lord's will happen in your life and these things will flesh out in your life, I feel like. Right. And so I feel like if I was like encouraging a younger version of myself or just anybody that's out there, just to find out like what you're most passionate about. Like, because if you're delighting yourself in the Lord, first of all, do that. And then like, what is your heart actually like after? Because like the desires in your heart may be good. And if you find that passion, that's what will keep you going in life. And that's when you know, that's when you really know.
Yeah.
I'm so glad you brought up that verse. That's my favorite verse, by the way.
Okay.
That's great.
And it's in my book.
That's cool.
And I had that moment, and I had a completely incorrect interpretation of that verse my entire life until around the time that I got this vision for the gold thread. See, I thought it meant delight yourself in the Lord and he'll basically give you everything your heart desires. That's how I sort of dyslexically read that verse.
Yeah.
Okay? So here's something really profound that happened. When I was a kid, I used to draw houses. When I was in junior high, I would sit here and draw architectural renderings of houses. When all of the rest of the boys were drawing dragons and battle tanks and all kinds of stuff that was,
Whatever else.
whatever else boys draw.
T-Rexes.
Yeah, T-Rexes. And I'm over here drawing houses, like very mechanical and real. I went through a season of that. And then I put it down. I didn't think anything else about it. I didn't become an architect or anything. But then skip ahead to this little opportunity in Broken Bow came upon me. I was asked to take photos of this mountaintop vista lot by the developer. And I'm up here and I'm trudging through blackberries up to my neck. And I'm trying to get a picture of this unbelievable sunset. And I had a moment there where I stopped and I thought, wow, look at this property. somebody's going to have an opportunity to design the cabin that sits here. And this could be the view from the living room window. We'll skip ahead a couple of months. And I'm on that property. I brought a buddy of mine up there who had a little money I knew laying around. He'd buy that property. And I showed it to him. And then he said that he would like to go into business with me and get these properties together. He wanted to partner with me on going in and getting these properties. And then he said something I'll never forget. He goes, we'll get these lots, and if you want to, you can design the cabin. You can design them. And all of a sudden, those houses that I used to draw started to come back, and I found myself sitting at my kitchen table with graph paper and a pencil and just laying out the elevation for these cabins. And then it was like, never in a million years would I have dreamed that I would be the one. When I had that thought of somebody's going to get to design a really stinking awesome place, to go on this lot, never did I dream that would be me. And God, I think, will do that. He'll give you something earlier in your life, and it'll just be there for a season or a little tiny chapter, and then it'll resurface later, and you'll be like, so that's why that happened. That's why I was interested in that when I was a kid, because God was preparing me for something He saw coming 30 years down the road, and then I got it. He will put the very desires in your heart when you delight in Him. He will tell you what to desire. And that's where that verse made so much more sense to me. It's like, no, I had it wrong. God puts your desires there when they align with Him.
Yeah.
He won't put them there if they don't align with Him.
Right. Love that.
I think I can relate to that. I think that's really neat. I just came off a sabbatical. That's just to kind of like deal with some stuff in life, and I go to therapy a lot, and there's just time to kind of take a sabbatical and focus on some stuff. And but like, identity's always been a big thing with me. It's what I spent a lot of time in therapy, and even talked a lot about the whole music thing, where I think, for me, I became a musician because it avoided me having to find an identity. It was just someone gave me one, and I said, "Cool, let's." That's much easier than trying like a bunch of stuff.
Well, there's worse labels that you could have been given.
Yeah, for sure. And so and I did that, and like, once I kind of like fell out of that, like, or just like music, at least on that context. And I mean, I enjoy being a part of the worship team and doing stuff with Dustin. But like, at least like that grind and of just doing music on that level we were doing it. Once that all went away, I kind of stumbled into I like writing.
Yeah.
And
nice.
And I look back and go, I hated school. I just undiagnosed ADHD was really hard and all this stuff. But I look back and go, I always liked English class, and my English teachers always took a huge interest in me.
Yeah.
They always pulled me aside. They threw me in AP English. It's the only academic thing I was ever recognized for.
That was a gold thread moment.
And that's what I'm saying.
Yes.
Like, I can go back and look and go, but I never ever thought about it. Like, it to me is never a flag of this is what I should be doing. I was like, I'm a musician. That's what someone called me and said that's what I'm going to do. I have no desire. But now I really love writing. It's very therapeutic for me. It's very fun for me. I really enjoy it. I love it way more than ever. It's a passion thing. It's like you said, you find your passions. And I think even following more on that too, though, it's just kind of like, music was not ever, I don't think it was really given to me by like the Lord and the level I took it. I think He has honored what the skills I learned, and I get to do worship now. Yeah. But I definitely think that it's just one of those things now where I kind of go back and go, one of the reasons I was looking for any identity is I always struggled with Christ being my identity as a kid. It's like, I have all this compartmentalized sin. I can't like put myself out there as a Christian, loudly. It's almost like I'm a Christian to people around me, but I'm never going to be loud about it. And then it's just, even now, just getting into my 40s and going like, oh, that's a part of my entire life has just kind of been like, not letting God be the identity around all this other stuff. Yeah. And I didn't even like look until recently, kind of in therapy, going like, that's what I had music I took it as an identity, and the Lord kind of set it on fire, burned it, and left it to where the only thing left in your life about music is revolved around me.
Yeah.
And you love that, and
Yeah.
you enjoy that. And I'm like, oh, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, so, I mean, I think it's very cool to like be able to go back and look at those
Yeah.
things and
Well,
go, oh, the Lord was speaking. I just
Yeah.
wasn't listening, you know?
Well, it's a formula that I hope everybody listening to this can do, and we can do it with you guys. Like, what was a gold thread moment for you, Cole, in some capacity that you can remember? Like, looking back, like, what was a gold thread person, conversation, event? Was it a movie? Was it a something that you saw in a character in a show on TV? Like, what was it for you?
There's something, Cole, I want you to share, but there's something that stuck out to me about Cole at like a specific moment. Go ahead. See if it
Yeah,
matches.
I guess a couple things come to mind. I'll actually, in like 2017 or 18, I thought back to a moment in 2013 that I kind of think was maybe a gold thread moment for me. So I got in, I developed, well, so my background and people that know me know that I kind of come from the IT world. I did IT work in college and stuff, but in college I developed a passion for video and just like storytelling, really, visual storytelling. It kind of stemmed. I thought back to one of my favorite movies, which I didn't really know why this was one of my favorite movies, but a movie that came out in 2013 I watched called The Secret Life of Walter Mitty is a movie about a guy who's kind of like a middle-aged man, doesn't really feel like he has a vision or passion in his life, but ends up going through a bunch of crazy, adventurous things, and his life like totally flips. And I thought back to that movie, and I was like, you know, I think I'm understanding. Like, I think I'm like following now, and I think this movie like kickstarted something in me, in a way that I kind of see as a gold thread moment now. And
Did somebody recommend that movie to you, or did you just stumble
I just
across
stumbled up. It was like it was just like I think I watched it in theaters, so
Yep.
it was just like a theater show. It was a Ben Stiller movie, so it was like several known actors in it. It was just like a Christmas Day release. I was like. And so I look back on this movie, and I kind of see it as something that kickstarted a passion for me in like film and video, in a way. I don't know
So
why.
how did you first take action on that?
I first took action on it probably in like 20. Did you say how or why?
Or how did you come to take action? What was the first thing that you did that was like exploring that?
The first thing I did in exploring it, I think, was just kind of really just diving in, and like I found the passion, like I found the passion for it, and so I just dove into it. Basically, I just like started like doing things and like read, like just becoming like a connoisseur, basically.
So one of the sparks that I was talking about was right around this time, honestly, 2014, 15. So shortly after, Cole was interning for me as the youth pastor for a little while. And that summer, we're going to Falls Creek, and I'm like, gosh, I need a video guy. And so,
Really?
yeah. And I was like, take this GoPro.
Before I was a video guy, I was the guy that got asked to be the video guy.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
I was like, take this GoPro.
So God
because
used
video a
Garrett
bunch
to
of
call
stuff.
you up out of that.
basically.
Yeah.
And what Garrett did to me there, actually, you can think of two other moments, other people kind of like, because I was that guy. I was like, hey, because I was like a tech guy. I was like, hey, we need a video. I was like, all right. Or we're like, we need a video. So like that happened to me a few times in life. And then like fast forward, it's like becomes like a huge thing in my life.
But this moment, he's videoing one night at a service, and Cole's very just like servant's heart kind of dude. We all know that.
100, yeah.
And so he's working and he's getting the shot or whatever. But all of a sudden I see Cole like walking down the aisle of Falls Creek with a camera, and he keeps going and very like uncharacteristic for Cole to get this crazy shot real up close. And he's young. And it was Ed Newton on stage, and he's getting this like really close shot. And he's 6 foot, whatever he is. And I'm like, whoa, that boldness, I've never seen that before. And it was just like this thing about videoing that.
He was in his arena.
Yeah.
Well,
He was running.
It's funny that you
Everybody
mention
else
that
did.
because, like, when
Blocked out everybody
you
else.
have like the job that you know do lock eyes, like, because me as like a quiet, reserved person who would never do that, I just black out from that when I'm
Yeah.
trying to like
And that was the first time I'd ever seen that.
That's another thing about the gold thread is when you're following it, it gives you energy. It doesn't drain you. You get energy from this thing. If you're following your gold thread, you'll know it because you'll lose track of time.
Yeah.
And you'll forget. It's like blinders on. You'll just be focused.
Oh, yeah.
That's where you want to be.
And what about you? Gold thread moment for you?
I thought about it while Corey was talking. At this point, I should be an optometrist. That's what I was going to do.
Really?
Yeah. Just because it sounded good and it was money. But I go back to my neighborhood. This is kind of a weird one. But playing outside of my neighborhood is a very, core memory, nostalgic kind of thing to me. And it was sports and it was everything involved, but it was more so organizing, structuring, spending time with, counseling my neighborhood buddies, older and younger. And that was just my arena. That was the thing that I loved more than anything.
So when you got an opportunity to do that, you really felt like...
And so getting older, the public school system, having a captive audience as a teacher and helping students was kind of what I was wired to do in my front yard when I was young, which is kind of interesting.
That's
way
awesome
to notice that, but that's what I can go back to.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
So then the question would be, if we go to the dark side, are any of you three willing to share any black thread moments that have crept in, whether self-imposed or you can take the easy way out and say, one that kind of blindsided you, because we've all had those. But do you think anything specific has tried to hold your gold thread back or just tangle you up with busyness? Or there's even, I say that in my book, there's wasteful threads that keep people from achieving their gold thread. I mean, how many hours are we wasting on doom scrolling or binge watching? I mean, think of these words that we wrap these things up with a bow to categorize them because we know we're guilty of them. And it's like, well, you don't have time to start a business or do something on the side because you binge watch TV until way up in the hours of the night, and then you are smoked in the morning. You get up and barely make it to work on time, when if you just didn't do the doom scrolling, then you could go to bed early and get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and get something done. So, I mean, black threads could take all kinds of shapes, all kinds. So any of them that stand out?
Yeah, I think the black thread... once I even decided I was going to pursue education and coaching, it's like the black thread would try to get its grip continually. I would always measure myself at times with how much money I was making. I think we referenced that earlier. And education isn't paying the big bucks. So there was this battle of am I doing enough? Am I making enough? Am I being enough? Because I would tell myself I'm just an educator, and that's probably the black thread.
Yes,
trying to tell me you're
threads
just an
of lies, and some of them people pour into you, and then some you just keep telling yourself, and they're just wrapping you up and holding you back.
So kind of that constant battle of, you're not enough because you're not making anything, but at the same time, God reminding this is who I wired you to be.
That's right.
So that's kind of a battle of the thread, I guess.
Yeah.
I think for me, obviously I think there's an infinite amount of probably black threads through my life. But I would say, if I could, just condense it all, I would say that, mental health stuff has always been kind of there. I was a very, very anxious kid, and I've had to go back in therapy. Kind of like you say, you wrote this book for a younger version of yourself. I'm in therapy. I have to kind of learn to go back and kind of mourn for the kid that I was, which is nobody's fault. I was just born in the 80s, and ADHD was, taboo, and parents kind of thought that's just a weird term because my kid's a punk. And but it's just, I was an anxious kid. It just, I recognized very young that just existing was a burden to everybody. It's what it felt like. Or my existence affects my parents and people around me, and this is just a lot of weight to carry around at a young age. And I think I've like then it becomes the black threads of the devil puts a foothold in that and goes, well, you can medicate with sin, you can medicate with this, you can medicate, and I think it's just a lifetime of medicating mental health with sin,
Right.
you know, and
Amazing.
And in a
Yes,
lifetime of that, you learn to
exactly.
compartmentalize that sin to where you're detached, you're numb to it, and things like that, and that manifests into getting older and going like, I don't have an identity. I don't know what my identity is. So I'm just who I am. You know, that's a therapy thing where it's like, I will be whoever the person I'm talking to needs me to be. If that's a musician, I'll be a musician. If that's a creative, I'll be a creative. If it's dark and mysterious, because people throw that label on me, that's what I'll be. I'll be the quiet guy in the room, you know, and to where then you get to like, you're 40, and I'm like, I don't really know who I am as a person at all. Like I've just kind of been manufactured, and again, I think I'm just even coming through a season where I'm like, I've never allowed my identity to just be like, dude, loved by God, created by God, follower of God, bondservant to God, and that's enough. Whatever the rest of the stuff's noise, and I'll just be that, you know. And I think like, but I would say that's like the main black threads. It's just the devil getting a foothold in some mental health stuff and weaponizing that.
It's profound. It's exactly how it happens.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah,
anything?
I think for me, I think there's kind of black threads that some of the stuff is like kind of like you guys were sharing, like the a little bit of like self-inflicted or just like ways Satan is like creeping in and like trying to destroy things in my life. And there's also the things that were just like getting hit by a truck. You had no idea it was coming. You had no idea, like you couldn't have prepared. But like going through the unexpected death of my father-in-law, I think was like something. But like it's like when you look back on it, of course, it's not been too much time. Like it's been a few years, but like, it's like, am I looking at this as like a black thread, you know? Am I seeing Lord is like working in this, and like I can look back and see like ways that the Lord is like working in me and building my character and just different things that are just developing in my life that the Lord is like working in. It's kind of an interesting thought, because I feel like there's several things I can look at in my life. It's like, am I like trying to make certain things a black thread, you know? Or is this like somewhere in between like a black thread and a gold thread with certain things, you know?
Yeah.
Or like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like,
Well, they're so closely related. It's like the moon has a dark side. It's like your biggest strengths have a shadow. And that black thread can weave itself straight from that place and can turn on you and can turn something really good into a kind of a weakness. It's like a parallel thing. So,
Like you communicate with your media, whether it be videography, photography, whatever you're at work with.
it's easy. It's easier for me to express
Well, what's crazy is
artistically
that
in that way.
what we would say is the black thread, obviously a life-altering moment that you mentioned, how God can use that and restore it back to your calling. And you will never tell stories the same way because of what you experienced.
Right.
How God like mended your heart, showed you grace, loved you through that process, and uses that for good ultimately in your calling. Not
Right.
just that's
Yeah.
amazing.
No, like like it becomes like, it's like who I am.
Right.
And it's crazy. It's crazy to think about life in this way, because like earlier at the beginning of the episode, whenever you like mentioned like tracing all these things back to 7th grade, thinking about that's just like life is just crazy in that way.
yeah.
I've only been a 7th grade science teacher, by the way. That's all I've ever taught.
Really?
Yeah, so it was
Wow.
really cool.
7th grade was a wild year.
It
It
is.
was a wild one.
It is.
Yeah, for me.
I love teaching that age group.
I had some embarrassments in 7th grade. I was kind of that awkward kid that was always doing things off the beaten path, and I brought a rocket to school one time, one of those little model rockets, to show my science teacher. And as soon as he saw it, he's like, "Oh, we got to go outside and launch it." And
Cool.
I'm like, "No, I just wanted you to see it." And he goes, "No, let's go launch it." And I only had one of those little igniter things, and I wasn't ready to launch it, but he insisted. So the next thing I know, we're out on the playground in the wind. It was a brutally windy day,
man.
and I was not ready to launch this rocket. And our class was lined up along this railing, And we're fidgeting with this thing. We're trying to hook a 9-volt battery to it, and I see the little wire like snap the igniter. And by this time, word's gotten out, and the whole school was now outside at this place. And I'm sweating bullets because I only have one igniter. So he's trying to save me, because he knows this is a little bit sensitive. And he runs to his lab, and he brings back like rubber cement and shoves rubber cement in the nozzle of this thing because it's flammable, thinking that he's going to ignite it with a cigarette lighter. So he holds this thing down, ignites that glue. Of course, it caught on fire immediately because it's really flammable. And it caught the fins on fire, and there's this fireball now coming off the ground. And when the flash of that came, everybody thought something was happening, but it was just that the rocket was on fire. And so he takes it and starts wiping it through the grass, trying to like put the fire out. I guess it's obvious that the rocket didn't fly. And so just those kinds of moments can impart those words to us. Yeah. They can put labels on us. I was that kid, and Mr. Wizard, he's got some crazy contraption again, And so I had some awkwardness and some of that ADD, and I think it was parallel for me. I kind of have probably a touch of Asperger's. My sister's a speech pathologist, and she puts me right there on the spectrum. And I probably, I'd say she's accurate in that. But that's been a black thread for me, is trying to get through these moments of social awkwardness and embarrassment. It's like, I'm going to blow it up again. It's going to, the wheels are going to fall off. And even when I brought another rocket to school to kind of prove myself, and it did fly, it somehow didn't erase the wound of the first one, right? It never does.
That's right.
It really, you can't ever make up for it. You just have to trust God to work that in a way in your benefit, but you have to be patient sometimes for that to happen. It takes a long time.
That's an awesome story.
Yeah.
That's really good. He had the best of intentions, that science teacher.
I know. He was trying to,
He's trying so hard.
He's like, I can't leave him hanging now. I brought him out here in the whole school.
But it checks out. I think that's about would have been my knowledge too. I would have done something similar.
Pretty funny.
That's great.
7th grade, man.
Yeah.
What a time.
So, really, there's people that have a true calling that's obvious, and you know it. It's like, I went to school with a country music legend. I don't know if I've had this conversation with any of you guys before.
I know about it.
You know about it? And for the people listening to the podcast, I'm from Paintsville, Kentucky, and every single one of them, everybody knows one of my classmates because he is Chris Stapleton.
Oh, wow.
And it's not like we didn't know. Like, we knew that he was going to do something with his music, and he was just so raw, talented. And, of course, he was voted most likely to succeed in our class. I was probably like 6th or 7th down on the list. That's why you have me here and not him. But anyway,
we'll shoot for it.
The thing is other people, it's not so obvious. It's not this cut and dry thing like, this is the one thing I do and I'm going to do it for life. You can have seasons and chapters of calling. And I've struggled with that because I'll do something and give everything I've got to it, and then I'll sort of burn out on it. And then I'll get another shiny object. That's that ADD coming out, And I'll chase that shiny object to the exclusion of everything else, and then that season will end. And then I'll be like, okay, God, what's next? You guys feel that way at all?
Oh, yeah. I love that everyone, like, part of being made in God's image, part of just the human condition is that we all go through like such unique experiences in life, and these like that shiny object, like chasing it, new experiences, like we're all, and everybody like is on such a unique path. Like everyone's on such a unique path, and it's like shaping us in who we are. I just think it's cool.
But then it's cool though that God redeems it and can restore those things for His kingdom purposes are all unified at the same time. He's so creative that He made us all unique for His unique purpose of making disciples.
Yeah.
It's pretty incredible.
I love this imagery of like this gold thread, this black thread. I think this is a really cool one. It's really easy to follow. And I'm glad, like as y'all were talking, I'm kind of thinking like it's kind of interesting because I think it's something you said, like especially like the threads that are kind of like could go black, could go gold, or the black that become. It's sort of like though, but at the end of the day, when I'm standing before God, if I look back at my life in that imagery, it's only going to be gold threads remaining. Either those black threads have turned gold, or they've disintegrated. Like once you're there, like right, like once you're on that side of life, or on the other side of life, as a Christian, you can look back and go, whatever, it's just gold threads left, and that's interesting. That's great. That no matter what, God will redeem all things, or have used all things, or everything the devil tried will have failed in that moment. And so I think that's a beautiful imagery. Like I think this is a very cool book and a very interesting subject to like really hone in on, especially from like a spiritual and Christian perspective, for sure. So
that's all I'm wanting people to do with this. If they want to read the book, they can get it on my website at jasondward.com, or they can get it on Amazon. It comes out on May 7th. If this is post May 7th, 2026, you can get it on Amazon. And really, that's it. Just I want to help people realign their work with their heart, the work of their hands, the work of their talents and skills, to realign those with God's desire for them.
For sure. I think that's really cool.
And that really fits with our mobilization pillar of our church, leveraging your life to make disciples of all nations. So that's the encouragement. Take your calling, find your calling, that you find yourself imprinted on you from God, and use it for His glory and His honor. So now go and make disciples of all nations.